The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, very full host and very flustered host right now because I have a string hanging off my hat, Mike Ezelina, and I am joined by my probably not as full host, Regzy Boo. Regs,
I haven't eaten yet. I'm waiting for my dinner.
Oh, what do you have?
Angela and her mom go to like Applebee's on Thursdays for like some special, so they always bring me something back.
Do you think that they have an 8-inch taco at
I don't think it would be that big at Applebee's.
Regs, I've been coming to Wichita for over a year now. For those that are new to the show, I know we have some new followers and new viewers. I work in schools all across the country, so I've been coming to Wichita for a full year every month. And today I went to dinner with one of the principals that I've built a really good relationship with. Great guy. He's a Cowboy fan. So
sometimes, people have flaws. It's okay.
They do. Otherwise, perfect human being. And he was like, we got to go get this taco. It's like a little hole in the wall Mexican place. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So we went and I read the description. I'm like, 8-inch taco. And I was like, I don't know about that. He goes, dude, you can put down 2 of those. I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. So I have 16 inches of taco buried in my stomach.
First time I've heard a taco designated by length.
How about it?
Never heard that before.
Well, there's a first for you here on the Phixated Podcast. Have you ever had, like, I feel like every place that I go has like some sort of obscure type of food, right? Like, so the 8-inch taco, when I go to Knoxville, like, it's not obscure, but like you have to get the Nashville hot chicken, like have to when you go there. Do you have like a favorite food of a place that you've been to that's like specific to that area? Because I think obviously the taco is not my pick for Wichita.
Yeah,
it was delicious.
Right.
I think it's always going to be like the hot chicken when I go to Knoxville. There's not much better than that going there. The barbecue is also very good. Certain places I've been. But do you have one that's like?
I mean, I feel very lucky that I basically have lived my whole life in two places that have a distinct food, like cheesesteaks and crab cakes. So that's very cool. There might not be much better than when we went to Austin for Josh's bachelor party, and that barbecue from that truck. Yeah. Like, I still, like, that was what? How many years ago? A decade ago, probably?
It's 10 years at this point, yeah.
I still remember sitting at that picnic table with that plate of food and just being like, I'm not sure it gets much better than this.
That is a really good pull from you. I unfortunately don't remember that food because you dropped me on my head like the night before. So.
Damn it. Not a proud moment of my life. Not a proud moment of my life. I know. I hate it when that comes up. I hate it. It's one of my deepest regrets.
Once you mentioned Austin,
I had you the whole time until I didn't.
Until I power bombed you.
Of course it's you of all people who, like, your mother has basically sworn me to protect like a frickin' like a Kingsguard or a knight or something. You know, and of course it's you. It's not Stein, who already has enough wrong with him. It wouldn't make any difference if I dropped him on his head, or Phil, who wouldn't feel it because he's just made of pure steel.
No, it was me.
It was you. Damn it.
The weekend.
Damn it. I think I'm most upset that Joe Marie might think less of me.
Nah, she'll love you always and forever. That is facts.
God, not my proudest moment. I have defended you on multiple occasions, but still not my proudest moment.
You have. And you know what? We still shared a wonderful weekend. We did. Blast.
You came through it.
We had the best barbecue that we've ever had. That was a great pull from you.
Also, like the dollar tacos from that other truck that we would get after we'd been out all night were like crazy clutch. I think I put down like 7 or 8 of them at the time.
I did just talk about those tonight while I was having the 8-inch taco. I did.
Funny that I get, Austin, good food city. I want to I really do want to get to like New Mexico and try like the green chili and, all those places that are sort of, food specific things. Like I'd love to go to Chicago with the pizza and the hot dogs and all that stuff.
Regz, should we just like do a Phixated on the road show where we just go and try ballpark foods?
At some point, yes.
That would be, hey guys, share this so you can fund our trip.
I was about to say that could be our first like real big feature YouTube video.
Like
we'll take a trip somewhere.
The whole thing. Come on now.
Yeah.
Guys, get us there.
Listen, if not in a few years, I'm going to start the stadium tour with the boys. So you can just come with us on one of those trips and we'll record the ballpark food.
Tagging along.
Yeah.
That's it. I love it. I love how we just got randomly full circle from the 8-inch hot dog to a Phixated tour of this country with food. That worked out.
We're not professionals yet, but we might as well be.
Just call
it's really on you people out there. It's not on us. We're putting in the work.
We are doing it.
You need to you need to get on it.
Yeah.
Share this with everybody.
Grow this ish is all that I'm saying. So we've got not a whole lot to talk about. We realized that we did an hour 40-minute episode last week. So we are going to pull back a little bit.
We missed each other.
We did. We had been away for a while. So we're only going to talk very briefly about three of, our three teams and spend just a little bit of time on each. We'll have much more to talk about next week after a Phillies homestand and the Eagles' first preseason game. And hopefully there'll be a gentleman coming back from Paris with a gold medal and a whole lot of learning experience. I do want to talk about Joel here, Regz. I think the Olympic part of Joel Embiid's career has been quite a roller coaster, as most of his career has been, right? There have been people that have been critical of Joel for playing with America in this Olympics, and there have been people outside of Philadelphia who I think are seeing a different side of Joel in terms of competitive nature. People who don't watch the sport as much are seeing this monster of a human being be nimble and athletic, and the pure freak that we get to watch every single night in Philly during the basketball season. So it's been fun, right? Today was a crazy game for those that did not see it. The United States played in the semifinal against Serbia. So a pretty good Serbian team. Like they have some really good basketball players on that side, including a guy that, if you listen to the show, I'm not a huge fan, Nikola Jokic.
I mean, yeah, I am, but like
you are. And look, I respect the game, but I feel like there's just something that, whatever, totally different topic. And Bogdan Bogdanovic, who was absolutely phenomenal today for them. So some good players. Just and the United States went into the fourth quarter down 13.
Yeah.
And I was watching with the principal that I was working with. We were done for the day. We were just watching in his office the fourth quarter. And being a Kansas fan, he loves Joel. So he was like, it's time for Joel to play some bully ball. Jokic had 4 fouls, 5 fouls out in these rules. But man, this team can just flip a switch. There's just so many guys.
Yeah, I think, thank God Steph Curry finally showed up. We've been kind of waiting for him to kind of get out of this weird funk he's been in. Like, but this was it, right? 30 some points, like, right? 8 threes, I think, or something like that. Like, this was that Steph Curry that just terrifies. It basically makes this team unbeatable if he can play like that.
Right.
It took an otherworldly shooting game from them. Like, the U.S. shot 50% from 3. And Serbia was like making everything they looked at for 3 quarters.
Right.
Everything. I turned it on. I'm like, these guys can't keep making these shots, right? It's just not possible. And not even, it wasn't Jokic and Bogdanovic. It was the other guys. It was like yeah. Like these guys were just like, come on, really? This is what we're doing?
Yeah.
So luckily that kind of lasted until the fourth quarter and the U.S. was able to come back. And KD finally, hit some big shots down the stretch.
Yeah, He'd only taken 6 shots or
Yeah,
5 shots
and
going
they
into
weren't
the fourth.
great. They weren't great either.
Joe, and so, like, the guy that I was with, he kept saying that he's one of the most prolific scorers in the game's history. How does he only have 5 shots in 3 quarters?
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. And he understanding that they are loaded with talent. They have future Hall of Famers kind of circulating through that whole roster. But he outside of LeBron, he's the guy that I look at as like, you're going to create your own shot. You can get to the basket, you can get fouled, you can make threes, you can make mid-range shots, you can penetrate and dish. And it just felt like he didn't really find himself until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But I at the end of the day, they won the game. You said it. Steph stepped up big time. KD stepped up big time. LeBron did what LeBron does. But I don't want to go too much further without talking about our guy, Joel Embiid, who I mentioned earlier. There's a lot of ridicule for him playing in these games. You and I briefly spoke on it
Yeah.
on this show about how we wanted him here for multiple reasons. And I'm proud of him for the effort that he's playing with over there. I'm proud of him for the level to which he's performing at over there. He didn't rebound well today, but that's not really Joel's game anyway.
Which baffles me as a guy who was 6'2" and loved rebounding. How you could be 7'3" and not rebound.
But the scoring, second
Yeah.
leading scorer on the team with 19 points, huge defensive plays, in key
Efficient too. I
moments.
think he only missed like a couple shots.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
So just a couple of thoughts that I'm looking for here. One being, obviously we wanted him here. Speak to that, but also speak to watching him on this stage and what people are seeing and what this could mean for him coming back home.
Yeah. I think we talked about it when he decided he was going to play for the US and what we wanted that to mean for him. Look, teams with better guards will hunt matchups against him because he just can't cover these guys on switches out in the perimeter. I think he was very out of shape at the beginning and clearly frustrated by some of the rules and like not being as mobile as maybe he, would be during an actual NBA season. So that kind of leads to the whole thing of what I hope he takes out of this. Like, we know he has the ability to score, especially against Jokic. He just seems to play better in these matchups. But like, and we talked about this when we first talked about him just going to the Olympics in the first place, but specifically with the U.S. team. Like, Joel's been in this Sixers bubble since he came out of college. Everything was about him and getting him, like, taking a year off, the process, all these things. And we've talked about this on the show, and I've had rants about it on the show, but like, all that led to a culture of like, whatever Joel wants, he's going to get. And just not a culture that ever put winning first. And we're not going to go on a deep dive about this, but like, that's just what happened. Like, that's not how LeBron James operates. That's not how Steph Curry operates. That's not how even like Bam Adebayo, Jason Tatum, Steve Kerr, Eric Spoelstra, like the coaches on that team, the leaders on that team. You can talk about KD and his, decision making and things like that. So we'll leave him out of this particular conversation. But like, you don't think Anthony Edwards wants to win and like slit your throat when he's out there on a basketball court? Like, Joel needed to be around guys like this. Like, I know LeBron James is a unicorn and a freak, but the amount of time and effort he puts into his body to do what he still can do at his age is remarkable. Steph Curry is the same way. Steph had to change his body to have a lasting NBA career. Joel Embiid came into the Olympics out of shape. He comes into a lot of seasons not in the best shape he could be. Like, all this stuff matters if you want to play in the NBA for a decently long amount of time and be in the top 10 of players for a decent amount of time. So I'm like, no one ever doubted his ability to get into a basketball game and have the talent to put up numbers. I don't think that was ever in question. Never once. My biggest hope was that he saw what these guys do to maintain themselves and be the players that they are. And like, that's what I want him to take away from this. More like the gold medal obviously is an amazing accomplishment. Will be fantastic. We'll be very happy for him, but like, take that away, bring that back to Philadelphia with a guy like Paul George, who I think has the same mindset, and a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who is still young, but like, you don't think he's going to ask Joel a million questions about playing with those guys on an Olympic team? Like, you could see him just talking right now. His mouth will never stop moving. He's going to be asking so many questions and wanting to like absorb as much information as possible. I just want him to come back with a different attitude about what it means to win and like have some longevity and like what it takes to be at the top. Like, this is what it takes. Like, you have the talent to do it, but I don't think he's put all of himself into the other side of it. And like, that's what I want him to like come back with and like have a renewed spirit and mindset about.
So, yes to all of that. I do think one of the big knocks on Joel has been that he doesn't necessarily look like he cares a whole lot.
Sure.
And I've argued that up and down. I've argued that with you at times. Just
For
that,
sure.
you know, I don't know that it's an effort thing. I think his personality is what it is. But I thought he fought his tail off against the Knicks this year multiple times in that series. I thought he basically played on one leg and he was battling. But I saw a different side of Joel today. A lot of hustle plays, a lot of going after it. And I do think that there's a mentality of playing with these guys. Joel sees himself at a level, the same level as these guys.
Yeah.
He doesn't see himself below
Right.
anybody on the floor with him right now. And honestly, at the end of the day, he's a top 10 player, just like some of the guys he shares the floor with. It's just he plays a different position that isn't as valued in today's game as the others.
Talent-wise, he's exactly right.
He's a top 10 player. He belongs in that conversation with every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a difference between he and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and LeBron James is that ring that they all own that he doesn't have. And he's hopefully, like you said, learning that winning mentality. I don't think it's a want to, because I do think Joel wants to win. And the effort, at least this past postseason, was there, and the emotion is there when he doesn't win. I sometimes wonder if it's just in those moments the how. Like, he hasn't experienced being down 13 and coming back and what that takes. And yes, it does take having multiple players who can get you there, like a Steph Curry or a LeBron James or a Kevin Durant. But like you said, he's now got Paul George and he's got a really good Tyrese Maxey. And now he's like, oh, you can do this. You can make a comeback. You can make a dent in the lead. And I think it's that how and that understanding of what it takes to play 4 quarters in big moments in big games. And there's no bigger stage than what he played in today.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to see the viewership for the game, because it's going to trump any viewership he's ever played in terms of the NBA playoffs. Yeah. He was on the biggest stage, and he was the second leading scorer on the team.
Yeah. And like you said, the how is so perfect, because it's not about having the talent to win the ring. It's what does it take to actually do it?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't just take talent. We've seen plenty of talented people not achieve it.
Yep.
There's a different thing. There's a different level that you need to reach to be able to do it. And especially to do it as the best player on a team.
Yep.
You're not the second or third best player. You're the guy.
Yep.
And like,
And there's not a LeBron to bail you out in the regular season. There's
right.
LeBron trying to beat you in the
But
regular season.
if you want to learn what it takes to be the guy, LeBron James, Steph Curry aren't two bad people to learn from. You know what I mean?
And Kevin,
And Kevin Durant for sure. So
it's definitely been fun to watch him. Do you know when the final is? Is it Saturday?
I'll look it up.
Okay, because I want him to feel that podium, and I want him to feel like that moment of I am a champion, and to bring it home. I that's all I want. I just want him to feel that and to bring that mentality back.
Saturday at 3:30.
Saturday at 3:30 East Coast time.
I believe so, yes.
2:30 out here. Okay. All right. Well, good luck to Joe and the rest of that motley crew out there playing in the Olympic final, the gold medal game
against France too. Yeah,
the home
that place
team
is going to be crazy.
They're going to be the United States is playing villain, and it is going to be a lot of. They're going to eat that up.
Mm-hmm.
There are a bunch of guys on that team that are used to being the villains, so that's not going to bother them 1 ounce. Not an ounce. Not an ounce. But that works out perfectly because before that, the Philadelphia Eagles have their first preseason game. Right. Now, Regz, it sounds like they might actually play a lot of starters on defense. Vic Fangio is very much in the camp of, I want to play starters.
Mm-hmm.
I think he kind of has to based on some position battles. I still don't believe we're going to see Darius Slay at all.
Yeah.
But I do think we'll see Rodgers and Ringo. I think we're going to see the linebackers. We're probably going to see safeties not named Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I think we'll see the defensive line for a possession, maybe two, because Vic Fangio talked about like the importance of practicing the tackle. And then on the offensive side, you might see Jalen for a drive one of these weeks. So I think my initial prediction of under half is very wrong. Maybe we move the line a little bit this week to over under 2.5 possessions for starters. Let's say that. But that's not our topic tonight. We're not previewing a Ravens-Eagles preseason game. And we will eventually recap what we saw and what we liked and the things that, need to be addressed and looked at a little more closely. Guys that stood out, guys that stood out in a good way, also a bad way. We'll get to all that as we move into next week. But for now, just two things that I wanted to briefly talk about. The first, actually, we're going to save the one about Arrival until the Phixated. But we're going to do I just want to talk about the article that was released yesterday. On a previous episode, I had said one of our overreactions was about Jalen and Nick being best buddies again. And then on Wednesday, an article came out from ESPN's Tim McManus that documented the breakdown in the relationship of Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni last year. And you sent it to me. I told you I would read it during like a break in my work day. And I needed like the full hour to read that article. It was long.
Yeah.
It was long. It was wonderful.
It was
and
good.
It laid all out there. Like I perfectly laid out there. I completely understand where everything went wrong and awry and all of that.
Please go read it because it's fantastic.
Yeah, if you have not read it, Tim McManus nailed it. He nailed it. This was one of the best pieces in terms of detail and clarity on a situation that I think we've had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we had that whole Carson Wentz debacle, and I still don't really know what all happened there. But I feel very, very, very firm in the stance of we know what happened last year between Jalen and Nick.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think I would do it justice by trying to recap, but I'm going to give some really just quick takeaways, and then I'd like some of yours. The first thing that I take away from that article, and I texted you this immediately yesterday, was how Nick Sirianni kept his job is so far beyond me. that I was in shock
Mm-hmm.
reading this article. I could not believe what I was reading and then thinking this guy's still our head coach. I don't know if he had to grovel to stay. I don't know if he has dirty laundry on Jeffrey and Howie. Like I have no idea. But the measures this guy took to hold and control the offense when it shouldn't have been held and controlled is almost unforgivable in a sense. That was my number one takeaway to the article was just that Nick keeping his job is a miracle and he should be thanking his lucky stars every single night that he is not sitting on a street without a head coaching job right now. My second takeaway, and I really only have two main takeaways, is that you were spot on when you said that Jalen does have a role to play in this. I don't think it's as large of a role as Nick's, but there's definitely a little bit of immaturity on the Jalen side of things. And, he says in the article exactly what you said. Like, I want people to know that you said it here before it was reported. Um, that there's a lot of pressure for a guy who's making a lot of money and he wanted to live up to that. But him shutting down is not great leadership. To withdraw
Yep.
from your teammates and avoid the conflict with your head coach isn't the best look. And look, he's still young and he comes from, I like what Tim said in the article about he comes from a coach's family. So it's all about respect to the coach. And I guess like the old saying holds true. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
But you're also an adult in the room now. And conflict is inevitable. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what you do for a living or where you are. If you put a group of human beings together, conflict's happening. And he's a leader on this team, so he's got to be able to address that conflict. I am impressed that he did reach out to the defensive coordinator from the Giants to be like, how'd you attack us? But to see sort of the passive aggressive, I'm just going to change stuff on the fly. We were doomed from the start,
Yeah.
man. Doomed. So those are sort of my two takeaways.
My biggest takeaway, I think, combines both, but it's very, it feeds off of everything you just said. And someone said it really well. I can't remember it if it was the PHLY guys or the like Philly special, because Shield had Tim McManus on the Philly special pod that they just did to talk about the article. But someone talked about like, that thing that Pat Riley coined, that disease of me, that like after guys either reach the pinnacle, right, and win a championship or get to a Super Bowl, things like that, that people start, thinking that, well, I did so well, like, well, I should have more of this, I should have more of that, like this was because I did this, right, and I did that, and why would someone now doubt me, like I just accomplished X, Y, and Z, so why would someone doubt what I'm doing here? I think unfortunately the two most important people in the Eagles organization like got caught up in that, and like I said, Jalen got the contract. He had just played possibly one of the best Super Bowls anybody's played in recent memory that wasn't named Patrick Mahomes. He's got the Jordan endorsement. All these things are coming together for a guy who's 24, and really has only had one majorly successful season in the NFL. Nick Sirianni, same thing, a second-year head coach going to the Super Bowl and being within 3 points of beating, a dynasty of a team in the Chiefs. And I just think they hit these speed bumps and just couldn't see the forest through the trees. In their minds, they were still in their Super Bowl year. Like, well, I did all this so right. I did all this so right. I'm not letting go of the offense because it got me to a Super Bowl, And now, unfortunately, we lost a guy I really trusted in Sirianni and Steichen. So I have to step in. Like, this is what I do. This is my thing. And I just think it hit both of them really hard, and they both handled it very poorly. I think the only reason Nick has his job is because I think a large part of this is the optics of an organization letting go a guy who has a plus 60% win percentage in the NFL and just took you to a Super Bowl a year before. Like, that's not a great look organizationally for the next person to come in. Like, even if you make a Super Bowl, the littlest blip is going to send you out the door. You know, that's how the worst organizations operate.
Yeah.
So I truly do think that Howie and Jeffrey did not want that to be how the Eagles are perceived. And even the article like sort of shows that Nick understood that part of his job this year was to take accountability for what he did. And by all accounts, even in the article, that's what he's been doing. I have a few thoughts on Jalen's sort of accountability and all this. I don't know if he's really kind of, again, from what we know, there's been no sort of Jalen stepping up in a meeting and being like, look, guys, I handled this poorly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if he said that to people in his own way. We don't know. We have no idea. No way of knowing. So just based on what we know, it seems like Nick understands what happened, understands his fault in that, and has openly taken responsibility for what happened. And I really do think what that bodes well for is that like Kellen Moore is running this offense. And there is not going to be this, oh, it's 3rd and long, you called a pass play. No, we're running this. That is not going to happen. He might have a suggestion, but Kellen's going to call, like, Kellen, this is Kellen's responsibility. And I'm hopeful that, like, they both are young in their relative positions, right? They don't have a ton of experience of doing this. They both had a lot of pressure on their shoulders. And sometimes it takes people failing miserably to learn from it and get better. Like, not everybody's not perfect. How they handle things isn't perfect all the time. So I'm hopeful that Jalen has been doing what's necessary on his end to remedy this. We know, like, from the article, we know Nick has done it, not publicly, but, you know, from a team perspective, publicly. And I just hope that Nick is allowing Kellen and Jalen to figure out the offense and run it how it makes sense and how they feel most comfortable. And Jalen knows that that's what Nick is doing and doesn't have to like feel like he has to do all this stuff to prove himself. Like, just go out and play. Like, and this is not like a shut up and dribble thing. It's just like, you've shown that you have the talent to hang with the best quarterback in the history, maybe the history of the NFL, in the biggest stage. But you did that because you trusted what was going on. And you had confidence in everybody around you to do their jobs. Like, I'm just hoping we're back to that. And that doesn't mean that they have to be best friends, Nick and Jalen, by the way. That does not mean that's what has to happen. Which is fine. You can work with someone and have a perfectly fine working relationship and not like be like, hey, you want to go grab lunch and dinner every day? Like, that's not what this has to be.
No. I think the moral of the story is it doesn't matter what type, but leadership is really hard. It's very difficult to lead in anything because it takes a great amount of humility, a great amount of self-reflection, a great amount of being able to receive feedback as much as giving it. And there's vulnerability in all of that. And it sounds like both of these guys needed a lesson in leadership and effective leadership. Like, how do we communicate to one another when things are not going the way that they're supposed to be going? Certainly, it's not easy to do. I've been a leader, and it's really hard to keep everything in line. And hopefully, Nick has learned his lesson on his side, and Jalen has learned his lesson on his side, and these two can go and do what they were literally a flag and a field goal and a fumble away from doing just 2 short years ago. So we'll see. But the article was eye-opening, and if you have not read it, please do. To go and read it. It is free on ESPN.com, on the app. and you can probably just search it on Google, Tim McManus Eagles
Yeah.
article.
And go listen to the Philly special for the Ringer, because like I said, Shield had Tim on, and it was like great to hear his kind of insight into putting the article together, and the aftermath of it. Like, it's a very interesting perspective on the aftermath of it.
Yeah, I'll have to go listen to that. Okay, cool. All right, well then we've got one more segment here with the baseball team that we can finally celebrate tonight. After it's so crazy to me that they bookended their losing streak by beating the Dodgers.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Isn't that
just
ridiculous? Yeah.
Now, after the Tuesday game, they had clinched the season series, which is just, I can't even begin to talk about the enormity of that. Because if there's any team who's going to catch them in the standings, it's the Dodgers. So the Phillies now have an extra game essentially because of the tiebreaker. They are, I think at this point, they're 2 games in the standings up on the Dodgers. 3 games in the tiebreaker, which is just such a huge advantage in terms of home field come the postseason. The first night of this series was one of those, like, it just was, my gosh, what is wrong with my team and why we win a game? Like, it felt like we were going back down that road of, we're gonna lose it. Here comes the 8th consecutive series loss. Like, we're doing it all over again. Thanks for this, guys. We appreciate it.
I don't appreciate it.
No, but like, they got out to the early lead. It felt good, and then the Dodgers scored 4 almost immediately off of Aaron Nola, because Aaron Nola cannot hold a lead. I hope my guy in Pittsburgh is keeping a close eye on all Aaron Nola starts. And just, it kind of felt like they could not find their way back in it. They did cut it to 1, but then the Dodgers added another, and that was sort of it. It was a very annoying 3rd inning, and the Phillies just never recovered after that. So lost game 1, and the Dodgers crawled to within a half a game of the standings. Game 2, Christopher Sanchez is an absolute dog. Let's just say what needs to be said. The kid is an absolute dog. He battles. He is tough. He just gets better with every single start. And I think what also needs to be highlighted here is that Kyle Schwarber is just unbelievable and is carrying the team by his
literally by himself. Yep.
It is insane what he has done. Also want to shout out Edmundo Sosa in that second game. I will be doing my series recap at some point. It might come a little later, my Walking Maverick series recap. But game 2 was nice to see Christopher Sanchez do his thing, and then they went to that bullpen with Strom. Hoffman gave up the leadoff home run, but then looked pretty good after that. And Estevez came in and just he's fine. And then yesterday, Riggs, I think we were both sort of like, man, they're going to lose this series. I immediately tweeted about Tyler Phillips and that the honeymoon is over. He couldn't get anybody out the first 2 innings, but then battled the next 3. Someone bookmarked my tweet, so if it was
if you were out there,
I've already mea culpa'd it, but I understand that you want to hold me accountable, and I can appreciate that. But what a job again by the Phillies last night. This is the team that we watched for the first 2.5 months of the season, 3 months of the season. A team that played complimentary baseball, got good pitching.
Outside of that, whatever stupid inning where everyone couldn't catch the ball.
Yeah. The defense.
Jesus.
And then just, really good offense, specifically from Kyle Schwarber. And it's good to see. Like, it's really a breath of fresh air to see this baseball team sort of turn the corner. Now, we said 5-5 would be totally acceptable going back home from a West Coast trip. The Braves are just seemingly falling apart right now. So after everything that happened, the Phillies have lost that half a game in the standings. And the Braves got blown out again today, so the Phillies can add to their lead. with a win in Arizona tonight. So I don't know, Regs. Any reactions or thoughts about the series outside of Kyle Schwarber is not human, although he did
Yeah.
make an out, so he sucks again.
Oh, damn it.
But any other thoughts outside of that?
I think just thank God they won a series.
They needed it so bad.
We needed it so bad. I need Trey and Bryce to figure it out.
Yeah.
Nick continued to hit well. The Hayes thing sucks. We don't know yet. No, the latest tweet I saw, Seidman just tweeted something.
Okay.
Underwent testing on his hamstring this afternoon. Should know more post game.
Okay. Yeah, that would not be great if he has to miss extended time.
Yeah. So it comes down to what you said. The first half of the season, even if they went down, we were like, they'll come back.
Yeah.
And in this 3 or 4 week stretch, there's been no confidence that they can do that. And I don't even think they had the confidence that they could do it.
No.
And it just took a heroic Kyle Schwarber game, maybe to like snap him out of it and just be like, guys, we have the players on this team to come back from anything. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. And that's the mentality they had at the beginning of the season when they were flying through these series and just beating everyone and winning the first game and just doing everything they were supposed to. I just hope that they gain some of that confidence back. The confidence just to be like, guys, we're never out of it. Like, we're just not. Yeah. We don't have to be leading every inning, but like, we're not out of it. And we have the guys that can come back from anything. So I'm just hopeful that that's what we're getting back to.
Yeah, I think I do believe that they are finding themselves here and there again. I think there's some guys still trying to work it out, and I did say that today in a tweet at the Mic Drop 5 that it's nice to see that they are where they are, and that, you know, things haven't fallen apart entirely. Some of that is just happenstance because of the Braves playing so poorly. However, it's important to note that, like, you know, Kyle has come out of it. Bohm has, you know, sort of wiggled his way free. Nick Castellanos has been a really good player since the end of May. I don't care what anybody says. Clearly, the Austin Hayes thing is concerning. We have to see. JT is still fighting back from injury. Bryce and Trey. Bryce just singled in the first. They didn't get any runs, but he did single in the first. Bryce has shown signs over the last week. Trey had a couple of hits last night. So hopefully, you know, the two of them start to figure it out. For this team moving forward, it really is just about, let's continue winning series. Let's continue building confidence as we get into September, October. And if they can do that, then I'm pretty certain that they're going to be just fine. They are in a tough series this weekend. I know people look at Arizona like they're not a great team.
They're hot as hell right now.
They are unbelievably hot right now. They are hitting the cover off the ball.
It's like 7 runs a game or something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane what they're doing right now. So it's not great. I think I'm going to chalk up tonight as a loss, and I hope they make me eat my words. But Colby Allard's going to have to throw 4 or 5 innings tonight. Yeah. And I think the Phillies and the staff is kind of looking at it like, we've got 4 here. We need to win 2.
Yeah.
I mean, the lineup they put out tonight is
it's not great. Yeah.
No, it's hilarious. So I think this is like a scheduled loss almost. I don't like those, and I think that it's kind of annoying that we even have to do it. But they're heading home soon and should have Walker and Ranger back on the homestand. So, you know, stuff could happen.
Yeah.
But it's an important series for them nonetheless. I think splitting and going 5-5 on this road trip would be just unbelievably important.
Don't lose 3 out of 4. Like, just
almost a miracle.
Don't lose 3 out of 4. Just don't do it. Just split and get away from this hellhole. That the Arizona is.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it is. And there's some demons that have to be.
Or just go out and like kill the demons now. Go out and
Yeah,
just be like, that was such a fluke last year.
yeah.
I don't care if you're
You
the
swept
hottest
them
team in
until
baseball. Like,
yeah. hmm
go out there and just kick some ass and
Yep.
just be like, I don't care how hot you think you are. Like, you're not beating us again.
Yeah, they swept them in Philly,
Right.
and now they go there. And even if you win 3 out of 4 there, you're
It's
still asserting
unbelievable. Absolutely.
you're asserting your dominance.
Absolutely.
I will tell you that if they get this one tonight, then I feel really good about winning the series.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I feel really good about it. Okay. Any other thoughts there on the Phils before I do an update on the game?
Just keep it going for my sanity and my mental, like, you know, health. The second game I turned off after what's his name hit the home run, I think off Hoffman. I was like, I'm not doing this again. I stopped watching, and when I woke up, I was dreading looking at my phone because
Yeah.
you would text me, and I was just like, I don't know what this text is going to say, but it's either going to say, what the fuck? Like, what the F?
Or dub.
Or dub, exactly. And luckily it said nice win. And I was
Yeah,
like, thank God. I was
Nice
just like,
win.
and then I could scroll Twitter and look at, all that stuff and look at the highlights.
Yeah.
But just like, come on, just get at like, okay, we did it. We're good. Let's move past it. Let's everybody move past it.
Yeah. My last thought is I hate the fact that we have to watch 4 games of Josh Bell this week.
God damn it.
It's just, I mean, Colby Allard not off to a great start.
I hate it. What did he do already?
It's first and second with 1 out, and Bell's about to hit.
Sick.
So I'm feeling it's gonna be 3-0 real fast.
Gosh darn it.
But hey, we prefaced with this is a scheduled loss. So buckle in.
Yep.
Buckle in, people.
That's
It's gonna be a long night. Coming into the night for the game, just so everybody knows, Regz and I had to redraft. We are tied 2-2 in this. Regz, I'm gonna go ahead on a limb and say you're winning. You're gonna win this month, and I don't think that's hyperbole. So here's what happened after the month ended. We had a chance to redraft. Regz, he replaced in his bullpen. He took out Ryan Kirkering and added Tanner Banks. Dude, he got Josh Bell to ground to a double play. Get out of here.
Oh my gosh, Colby Allard.
Colby Allard. And then I replaced Matty Strom with Estevez, which some people might think is crazy, but I need to have a save stat.
Yeah.
He's the only guy who's going to get saved, so that's why I took him. Regz replaced Edmundo Sosa with Hayes, and Regz will have to keep an eye on that injury so that if you need to add someone.
Right. Yeah.
And then I replaced Brandon Marsh with JT Realmuto. That's been an awful decision on my part so far. So here's the update in terms of the first week of August. Batting average, Regz 311, Azzy 226. Long way to go. On base percentage, Regz 351, Azzy 320. Not great. Runs, Regz 16, Azzy 7. RBIs, Regz 17, Azzy 4. Home runs, Regz 6, Azzy 1. Strikeouts, Regz 17, Azzy 18. I have a chance there.
There it is.
Stolen bases, Regz 2, Azzy 1. That's a 7-0 lead. It doesn't get better. Innings pitched, Regz 21, Azzy 16 and a third. ERA, Regz 1.29, Azzy 11.74.
Yeah, the Phillips start didn't help.
No. Whip, Regz 0.67, Azzy 1.99. Wins, Regz 2, Azzy 0. Saves, neither of us have one. And strikeouts, Regz 17, Azzy 15. If you had a save, this would be the first time one of us led the other 13-0 because you don't. It is 12-1. So I hold true to my one. And I don't know if in the first inning, if Kyle Schwarber struck out. So because of that,
there you go.
We are tied 18-18. So it is 11-0-2.
There you go. The problem is I want you to be better because that means Trey and Bryce are hitting better. Like I need like
I feel the same way. I was
desperately
thrilled.
want you to be better so that
I was thrilled last night with Kyle Schwarber doing what he did.
my
but I was
horses
also
are doing what they need to do.
Goodness, I was not happy. All right, so quick fixated, and then we're out of here. Told you it was going to be a quick episode. But tonight I was scrolling before we started. I was scrolling Twitter. I'm trying to pull it up right now. And I saw a tweet from a gentleman named John Machota, I believe his name is. He's a Cowboy writer for The Athletic. It's either Machota or Machota. I apologize for mispronouncing it. And in an interview with Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, they asked him about contract talks with CeeDee Lamb. And he said, I don't have any urgency to get it done. To which CeeDee Lamb retweeted, LOL. So, your best player at a position that you didn't invest literally any assets into this offseason, with no running game, a middling quarterback who's also angry about his contract, and a defense that's really good but lost their defensive coordinator, and you're deciding to play media war games with your best player over a contract.
Right.
So my fixated is not about the dumpster fire that is the Dallas Cowboys organization. It's about how fortunate we are. And this is not a Howie rant. It's more so a Jeffrey Lurie rant.
Yeah.
Because Jeffrey Lurie shells out cash to be able to get these deals done so that guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are equals for life, and they're happy. Because we were certain that we were going to lock up Devontae and have 1, maybe 2 more years of AJ, and then we were going to have to say goodbye. But because of Jeffrey's desire to win and put a winning product out there for his fan base and for this organization, and because he loves his players, we don't have to deal with that drama and that nonsense.
He also wouldn't be out in the media talking about this.
He sure wouldn't. And I looked at Tua's contract.
Yeah.
His breakdown, and the money he's making on a year in year out. I mean, I think it's like a $60 million cap hit in like 3 years. And Jalen's never eclipses like 48. So Jalen's deal was, again, really well done. And I'm sure they'll redistribute some money and give him a signing bonus and pay him the cash and get it out from under the cap in some way. It'll take some penalties and whatnot, but it's all because Jeffrey Lurie doesn't mind paying those penalties and he doesn't mind paying the cash. And and again, just the ability to understand that playing media war games with your players isn't going to help your cause.
Right. Especially your best players.
He's your best player. You invested nothing else at that position. He's going to lead the league in targets.
Right.
And you just ticked him off. I have no urgency to get things done. Why?
Yeah, right.
This dude can walk and someone will sign him.
Oh my God.
Like he's bar none.
All other teams would want to sign him.
As Eagle fans, we would give our left arms.
That's what I mean. Seriously.
And we have 2 amazing wide receivers, but it doesn't mean I wouldn't want CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
And if my owner said this, I'd throw a fit.
Oh yeah.
I almost feel badly for Cowboy fans today. Not really,
yeah.
but I almost do. Your owner can't keep his mouth shut.
Right.
And your best player is laughing at him in front of the entire world.
Right.
Have a great year, Cowboy fans.
Right. I'm sure CD will be very motivated when he comes back.
So thank you, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
We love and appreciate you for putting a winning product out there without even blinking an eye and making a unnecessary fuss. So we love you, man.
That's right.
Love you and appreciate you. Also, real quickly, Nick Foles' retirement.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty cool.
Home opener, right?
Yes. I was kind of surprised that they're not doing it when Doug comes back.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of, it's a primetime game. I was
Yeah.
sort of surprised by that. My guess is that there's just too many
Yeah.
stones
Right.
in one building. If you
Yeah.
put Nick Foles and Doug Pearson together, too many stones. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's too much masculinity. There's too much happening there. So I'm excited for Nick, and we'll save the love fest for before that game or after that game. But very exciting to see that he's getting the love and gets to come back and retire where it all started
It's
for
awesome.
him. Sure. It's awesome. So, hey, we promised you a quick one tonight. Regz, I don't know where we're at. Are we even
55
like 40
minutes.
Okay, we're going to be under an hour.
That's right.
Let me do the rundown real quickly. If you're already not subscribing, click the box below if you're watching us on YouTube, and go ahead and share it with someone. Go ahead and share it with someone so we can do our travels all over the place. And then head over to wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you stream them audio-wise, and follow, subscribe, unfollow, unsubscribe, and follow, unsubscribe again. And then leave a comment and share that as well. And then you can head on to social media at the Phixated Pod on Twitter, at the Mic Drop 5, and at Big Regz with a Z, all on Twitter, and at the Phixated fan page on Facebook. And if you're not already doing it, head on over to TikTok and follow us at the Phixated Podcast. I'm having a lot of fun cutting up clips of the videos, the video podcasts, and posting them on there for people to engage with. And we're growing it. It's slowly but surely we're growing it. A lot of views. And hoping that more and more people will jump on and engage with us there. All right. Otherwise, have a great week. We will be back with you on Thursday with a little reflection on the Eagles' first preseason game. We'll talk about the end of the West Coast trip for the Phils, and we'll talk about the middle of the homestand as they head into a quick one with the Marlins and a 4-gamer with the Nats. But until then, take care of yourself, take care of one another. We love each and every one of you, and we appreciate you so much for spending the time with us. We'll talk to you next week. And until then, go get gold, Joe. Go get some gold.
Yeah. Beat those stupid snakes also.
Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there and way out of here. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.